Did you know there was an Aztec weapon so powerful it could decapitate a horse? This isn't just a legend. It's a chilling historical fact. This was the Macuahuitl, a weapon whose name should resonate with awe and a touch of dread. In the vast, tumultuous annals of human conflict, where civilizations surged and crumbled, some weapons achieve more than mere function. They become enshrined in legend. Their power, whispered through countless generations, resonates even now. Such is the profound and compelling narrative of the Macuahuitl, a name that instantly conjures vivid, electrifying images of ancient Mesoamerican warriors. It wasn't just a tool for battle. It was a terrifying, visceral extension of the formidable Aztec will. Imagine, if you will, the bustling, vibrant epicenter of Tenochtitlan, a city of breathtaking beauty and intricate complexity. It was an island metropolis, built upon the very waters of a vast lake. Its people were renowned. They were brilliant astronomers, masterful artists, and crucially, utterly formidable warriors. They meticulously engineered an empire that wasn't merely expanded through conquest. It was forged and maintained by the relentless, horrifying efficacy of their unique weaponry. At the very forefront of this awe-inspiring martial power stood the Macuahuitl. This was a blade utterly unlike any known to the Old World. Its composition was not of cold, gleaming steel. No, it was crafted from sturdy, resilient wood. It wasn't forged in the searing heat of a conventional fire, but meticulously, painstakingly assembled with incredible precision. Yet, let us be clear, this was unequivocally not a crude, unwieldy club. Far from such a primitive notion, it was a sophisticated, lethally effective instrument. An astonishing innovation, one born directly from pressing necessity, and an unparalleled indigenous ingenuity that modern minds still marvel at. The very sight of a Macuahuitl in the hands of an advancing Aztec warrior struck an icy, primal fear deep into the hearts of their adversaries. Its mere appearance upon the blood-soaked battlefield was a chilling harbinger. It signaled the undeniable, brutal certainty of imminent, utterly relentless conflict. How, one might logically ask, could such a devastating weapon, constructed from what seemed to be deceptively simple, natural materials, achieve such a fearsome, almost mythical reputation? What hidden secrets, what profound principles of design did its remarkable construction truly conceal? What inherent qualities, both practical and symbolic, made the Macuahuitl the ultimate, undisputed symbol of Aztec might and their unparalleled martial prowess? These are the crucial questions we are poised to explore. We are about to strip back the layers of time and uncover its incredible, blood-drenched story. Prepare yourselves to journey far back in time, back to a world of powerful, often demanding gods, to a landscape populated by indomitable spirits, and to an era defined by weapons specifically honed and perfected for absolute, unyielding dominance on the battlefield. A world where the chilling, rhythmic, obsidian whisper of the Macuahuitl didn't just strike, it reigned supreme. We now truly begin our deep, immersive exploration into its profound, often bloody, and always fascinating legacy. What untold, dramatic stories are still embedded within its razor-sharp, obsidian-studded edges? What forgotten tactics? What moments of terror and triumph? Let us together unveil the full, unvarnished truth behind this truly legendary Aztec sword. Its legacy demands our attention. Its story our respect. Excellent, with Chapter 1 approved and refined, let's move forward and bring Chapter 2 to life. Having glimpsed the Macuahuitl's fearsome reputation, we now pull back the curtain. Let's delve into its ingenious, yet deceptively simple construction. How could wood and stone yield such devastating power, The answer lies in Aztec craftsmanship. The core of every Macuahuitl was its body. This was crafted from a robust, dense wood. Often it was oak or pine. These choices weren't accidental. They provided the necessary strength for impact. This wooden base varied in length. Some were compact, wielded in one hand. Others stretched to the length of a man, requiring both hands. This adaptability meant a Macuahuitl for every warrior. But the true genius lay in its edges. Along the sides of the wooden paddle, grooves were meticulously carved. These weren't mere decorative channels. They were precise sockets. Into these sockets, hundreds of razor-sharp blades were embedded. These weren't metal. They were pieces of obsidian. Obsidian, a volcanic glass, forms when molten rock cools rapidly. This natural material, found abundantly in Mesoamerica, has a unique property. When fractured, it forms edges thinner and sharper than modern surgical steel. Imagine that precision. The Aztecs had mastered the art of knapping obsidian. They expertly flaked it into perfectly uniform, incredibly sharp shards, each one a tiny, lethal razor. These obsidian blades, often 2 to 4 inches long, were then securely fastened. A natural adhesive was used. This powerful glue, derived from pine resin or agave sap, bound the blades firmly. Sometimes, animal blood or bone fragments were mixed in. This created an incredibly strong, durable bond. Once set, the obsidian was virtually fused with the wood. The result was astonishing. A heavy, blunt force weapon, combined with an edge of unparalleled sharpness. It was designed for maximum trauma. Unlike a European sword, which primarily cut or thrust, the Macuahuitl delivered a different kind of horror. Its obsidian edges ripped and tore. A single swing could inflict gruesome, gaping wounds. It could sever limbs. It could, as we discussed, even decapitate. The impact was shattering. The jagged obsidian shards didn't just slice. They snagged and pulled. This caused immense blood loss. It also created wounds incredibly difficult to treat. Spanish accounts speak of the psychological effect. Seeing comrades dismembered by these wooden swords was terrifying. It instilled profound dread. Some Macuahuitl even featured a pointed tip. This allowed for thrusting attacks. It added another dimension to its already formidable versatility. The balance of the weapon was crucial. Aztec artisans achieved a remarkable equilibrium. This allowed for swift, powerful strikes. It truly was a testament to their engineering. Using the natural resources available, they created a weapon perfectly adapted to their warfare. It was an innovation born of their environment. It proved devastatingly effective against all foes. A masterpiece of primitive technology. From the volcanic depths of the earth and the ancient forests came the components. United by human skill, they became instruments of unparalleled destruction. The Macuahuitl stands as a stark reminder. The most advanced technology isn't always about metallurgy. Sometimes it's about ingenious adaptation. It's about understanding your materials. It's about perfecting ancient techniques. It's about creating something truly terrifying from simple elements. This anatomical study reveals the true genius. It explains why the Macuahuitl held such a fearsome grip on the battlefields of Mesoamerica. Are you ready to witness the Macuahuitl in its element, to see it unleashed in the heat of battle? We've explored the Macuahuitl's ingenious design. Now, let us transport ourselves directly onto the brutal, cacophonous battlefields of ancient Mesoamerica. Here, the true terror and devastating effectiveness of this unique weapon were fully revealed. Aztec warfare was not merely about conquest. It was a complex dance of ritual, intimidation, and raw, unflinching brutality. And at the center of this maelstrom was the Macuahuitl, wielded by highly trained, fearless warriors. Imagine the scene. Thousands of warriors, adorned in vibrant feathers and fearsome animal skins. The air thick with the beating of drums and the piercing calls of conch shells. Then a sudden, terrifying surge forward. The Macuahuitl was an elite weapon. It wasn't issued to every common foot soldier. It was reserved for the more experienced, the more skilled. Those who had proven their worth in countless skirmishes. Upon impact, the Macuahuitl delivered a truly horrifying blow. Unlike a sharp metal sword that could glide through flesh, the obsidian blades of the Macuahuitl would rip and tear. They created wide, gaping wounds. These weren't clean cuts. They were jagged, messy lacerations. Wounds that caused immense, rapid blood loss. This was not just about disabling an enemy. It was about creating a spectacle of terror. Spanish chroniclers, those who survived the encounters, wrote with palpable dread about these weapons. Bernal Diaz del Castillo, a famous conquistador, described seeing men disemboweled by a single swing. He recounted witnessing soldiers' heads, or even whole limbs, severed clean off their bodies. This was the Macuahuitl's brutal signature, a testament to the sharpness of the obsidian and the force behind the strike. Picture a European armored knight, confident in his steel protection. Then a Macuahuitl descends. While it might not always pierce plate armor, it would certainly deliver a bone-shattering impact. Against lighter armor like leather or padded cotton, it was unequivocally lethal. It tore through defenses with terrifying ease. The obsidian blades would shatter upon extreme impact, but that only added to the horror. When a blade broke, it left behind dangerous fragments in the wound, and the warrior could continue fighting. A Macuahuitl was never truly dull, as a steel sword might become. Its edges were always razor-sharp. The tactical use of the Macuahuitl was also fascinating. It wasn't just a chopping weapon. Its wide, paddle-like shape allowed for effective blocking and parrying. It could deflect blows before delivering its own. Some warriors specialized in using larger, two-handed Macuahuitl. These massive versions were designed for overwhelming power. They could smash through shields and defenses. The smaller versions, more akin to short swords, offered greater agility. They allowed for quicker strikes in close-quarters combat, often used in conjunction with a shield. But beyond the sheer physical devastation, the Macuahuitl had a profound psychological impact. To face an enemy wielding such a gruesome weapon was to face utter terror. The sight of fallen comrades, horribly mangled, would undoubtedly shatter morale. The Macuahuitl was a tool of both physical and psychological warfare. It was designed to break the enemy's will. It was also used in the grim ritual of capturing prisoners. While capable of killing, Aztec warriors often aimed to wound or disable their foes for sacrifice. A precise blow from a Macuahuitl could achieve this. This dual purpose, for both lethal combat and ritualistic capture, highlights its versatility. It was perfectly suited to the unique, often ritualized, nature of Aztec conflict. The very sound of its impact in battle must have been chilling. The thud of wood on bone, the tearing of flesh, all under the relentless, rhythmic clang of the obsidian. The Macuahuitl wasn't just a weapon. It was an extension of a warrior's spirit, honed by years of training. It was a symbol of their ferocity, their discipline, and their mastery of their environment. It was a true testament to the ingenuity of a civilization that understood how to transform Earth's raw materials into instruments of conquest, instruments of power. Can you now truly grasp the terror and effectiveness of the Macuahuitl on the ancient battlefield? Are you ready to explore its deeper cultural meanings? The Macuahuitl was undeniably a weapon of terrifying efficiency. However, its role in Aztec society extended far beyond mere combat. It was a potent symbol, deeply interwoven with their spirituality, social structure, and very worldview. For the Aztecs, warfare was a sacred act. It wasn't just about territorial expansion. It was fundamentally about capturing sacrificial victims to appease their demanding gods. The Macuahuitl, therefore, became an instrument of divine will. Consider the warrior class itself, the Quetzalcoatl or eagle and jaguar warriors. These were the elite. They were the ones who wielded the Macuahuitl with unmatched skill. Their status was elevated through their prowess in battle. To own and master a Macuahuitl was a mark of immense prestige. It signified a warrior's courage, discipline, and devotion to the empire's religious and military aims. It was a symbol of honor. The creation of the Macuahuitl was also a ritualized process. The gathering of the wood, the careful shaping, the precise knapping of the obsidian blades, each step was imbued with meaning. It was an act of reverence for the materials provided by their gods. The obsidian itself held spiritual significance. It was born from the earth's fiery core. It was sharp enough to pierce anything. This made it a material connected to both creation and destruction. The Macuahuitl was often depicted in Aztec codices and artwork. It was shown in the hands of gods, emperors, and legendary warriors. This reinforced its status as a sacred, powerful artifact. It represented the raw, vital force of the empire. It symbolized their ability to dominate. It also embodied their unyielding commitment to their deities through the act of sacrifice. Human sacrifice, while horrifying to modern sensibilities, was central to Aztec religious practice. It was believed to nourish the gods, ensuring the sun would rise and the cosmos would continue. The Macuahuitl, with its capacity for inflicting terrible wounds, was therefore intricately linked to these rituals. While not the primary sacrificial knife, its role in securing victims was crucial. Warriors who captured enemies alive were highly revered. A well-placed, non-lethal blow from a Macuahuitl could disable, allowing for capture. This elevated the weapon's sacred purpose. Think about the Flowery Wars. These were ritualized conflicts between Aztec and allied city-states. Their primary goal wasn't conquest, but the capture of warriors for sacrifice. In these wars, the Macuahuitl would have been the ultimate tool. It was precise enough to wound, yet brutal enough to subdue. It perfectly served this unique form of ritualized combat. The very shape of the Macuahuitl, often a broad paddle, resembled a ceremonial club. This blurred the lines between practical weapon and ritualistic instrument. Even after a battle, the Macuahuitl likely had a place in ceremonial displays. It would be cleaned, perhaps adorned, and revered for its service to the gods and the empire. It was a constant reminder of Aztec power, a symbol of their unwavering faith, a testament to their readiness to make the ultimate sacrifice, both of themselves and their enemies. The Macuahuitl was not just an implement of war. It was a cultural cornerstone. It was a physical manifestation of the Aztec spirit, a spirit of conquest, devotion, and unyielding will. Its place in their culture was as deeply embedded as the obsidian blades in its wooden frame. It represented their identity. It represented their destiny. Are you now ready to witness the Macuahuitl face its greatest challenge? The arrival of a world entirely alien to its own. The year is 1519. A new, unimaginable force arrives on the shores of Mesoamerica. Hernán Cortés and his Spanish conquistadors, clad in gleaming steel and armed with gunpowder. Their arrival signaled a clash of worlds. This encounter brought the ancient Macuahuitl face to face with European weaponry. A confrontation between a marvel of indigenous ingenuity and the advanced metallurgy of the Old World. Who would prevail in this epic struggle? At first glance, the Spanish seemed overwhelmingly superior. Their steel swords were incredibly durable. They rarely chipped or broke. Their armor provided superior protection against most native weapons. The Macuahuitl, though devastating, had limitations against this new threat. While its obsidian blades were incredibly sharp, they were also brittle. A direct impact on steel armor could shatter the fragile edges. Imagine an Aztec warrior expertly wielding his Macuahuitl. He strikes a Spanish soldier. The obsidian blades, designed to rip through flesh and bone, might simply glance off the hardened steel breastplate. This was a profound disadvantage. An Aztec warrior might need to constantly replace shattered blades during a prolonged engagement. This was a challenging, if not impossible, task in the heat of battle. However, it wasn't a one-sided affair. The Macuahuitl still proved to be a formidable opponent. Spanish chroniclers, despite their biases, admitted its terrifying effectiveness against unarmored or lightly armored targets. Many Spanish soldiers did not wear full-plate armor. They often opted for lighter leather or padded cotton, known as escopel, for mobility in the tropical climate. Against these, the Macuahuitl was horrifically efficient. Accounts describe how Aztec warriors in their furious charges would still inflict grievous wounds. Limbs were severed. Heads were sometimes taken. The Macuahuitl remained a source of intense fear for the Europeans. Diaz del Castillo famously recounted seeing a horse's head struck clean off by a Macuahuitl. This wasn't a common occurrence, but it demonstrates the sheer destructive potential when wielded with skill and force. The Spanish also learned to fear its shocking impact. Even if the obsidian shattered on steel, the heavy wooden base still delivered a tremendous blunt force trauma. This could break bones or cause severe concussions. Moreover, the Macuahuitl's design allowed for wide, sweeping arcs. This made it effective against multiple opponents in close quarters. It was a chaotic, devastating weapon in a melee. The clash wasn't just about weapon technology. It was also a clash of fighting styles. The Aztecs fought in dense formations, aiming to overwhelm and capture. The Spanish preferred more open, disciplined engagements. The introduction of steel, however, slowly began to shift the balance. Spanish swords, like the rapier or broadsword, could thrust and parry with greater agility and durability. The Spanish also brought other decisive advantages. Their firearms, though slow to reload, caused immense terror and casualties. Their crossbows offered ranged lethal force. And critically, their horses provided a strategic advantage. They were a powerful, mobile force on the battlefield, against which the Macuahuitl, while potent against a single horse, struggled en masse. Ultimately, the fall of the Aztec Empire was not solely due to weapon superiority. It was a complex tapestry of factors. European diseases decimated native populations. Political alliances shifted. But technology played a significant role. The Macuahuitl, despite its ingenious design and fearsome power, represented an ancient world. It eventually succumbed to the relentless march of technological advancement. Its obsidian edges could not forever withstand the relentless steel. It marks a poignant moment in history, a symbol of indigenous power facing an unstoppable tide, a testament to a weapon that, though legendary, could not alter the course of destiny. Are you ready to explore the enduring legacy of the Macuahuitl, its place in history and modern understanding. The dust of conquest settled centuries ago. The great Aztec Empire, along with its formidable warriors and their unique weapons, faded into the annals of history. Yet the Macuahuitl did not vanish entirely. Its legend endured, a whisper from a glorious vanished past. Today, the Macuahuitl holds a unique place. It's not just a historical artifact. It's a powerful symbol of indigenous ingenuity, resilience, and the sheer martial prowess of Mesoamerican civilizations. For many years after the conquest, the Macuahuitl was largely forgotten outside academic circles. European narratives often overshadowed pre-Columbian military achievements. But in recent centuries, interest has surged. Historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts have meticulously studied the surviving accounts and limited physical evidence. They aim to reconstruct a clearer picture of this legendary weapon. Only a handful of authentic Macuahuitl are believed to still exist today. Most were either destroyed or simply deteriorated over time due to their organic materials. This scarcity only adds to their mystique. The most famous alleged surviving example was housed in the Royal Armory of Madrid. However, this particular artifact was tragically destroyed in a fire during the 19th century. Its loss was a significant blow to research. Despite the limited physical specimens, detailed descriptions from Spanish chroniclers have provided invaluable insights. Their accounts, though often biased, offered first-hand observations of the Macuahuitl's effectiveness. In modern times, the Macuahuitl has captured the popular imagination. It appears in countless works of fiction, video games, and documentaries. It's often depicted as the ultimate indigenous weapon. This renewed interest isn't just about its destructive power. It's about recognizing the sophisticated engineering and craftsmanship of a civilization, often misunderstood or reduced to simplistic stereotypes. Replicas of the Macuahuitl are now common. Craftspeople and historians attempt to recreate them using traditional methods. This helps us understand the effort involved in their creation. These modern reconstructions have allowed for fascinating experiments. Researchers have tested the Macuahuitl's cutting power against various materials. The results consistently affirm its incredible sharpness. They've demonstrated its capacity to sever limbs, pierce protective gear, and indeed, inflict devastating wounds. These tests lend credence to the dramatic historical accounts. The study of the Macuahuitl also sheds light on broader aspects of Aztec society. It reveals their deep understanding of natural resources, their mastery of tool-making, their advanced social organization. It reminds us that innovation isn't solely confined to one region or one type of material. Genius can arise in countless forms. In the Macuahuitl, we see a pinnacle of pre-Columbian military technology. Its legacy is not just about battle. It's about cultural identity. It's about respect for ancient wisdom. It's about understanding the complex story of human civilization. The Macuahuitl, though silent now, continues to speak volumes. It tells a story of power, of ingenuity, and of a world that, though transformed, left an indelible mark on history. What final thoughts can we gather from the journey of this obsidian-edged marvel? How does its story ultimately resonate with us today? Our immersive journey through the fascinating history of the Macuahuitl now reaches its conclusion. We have traced its path from the heart of the Aztec Empire, witnessed its terrifying power in battle, understood its deep cultural roots, and observed its ultimate fate against a changing world. What lessons, then, can this legendary weapon impart to us today? It stands as a profound testament to human ingenuity. It proves that even without metalworking, a civilization can forge instruments of war that inspire both awe and terror. The Macuahuitl was more than just sharp obsidian blades on a wooden paddle. It was a sophisticated design, perfectly adapted to its environment and the unique nature of Aztec warfare. It was a symbol of their resourcefulness, their discipline, and their fierce spirit. It reminds us that history is not always written by the technologically superior. While the Macuahuitl ultimately faced an insurmountable challenge in European steel, its effectiveness for centuries before the conquest cannot be understated. It truly dominated its world. We have seen how a single weapon can encapsulate an entire culture. The Macuahuitl embodied the Aztec spiritual beliefs, their social hierarchy, and their unyielding martial prowess. It was woven into the very fabric of their existence. The stories of its devastating power, of horses decapitated and warriors dismembered, serve as vivid reminders of the brutal realities of ancient warfare. They underscore the sheer force and destructive capacity inherent in human conflict throughout history. Yet beyond the violence, the Macuahuitl also prompts us to reflect on the nature of innovation. It was a masterpiece of lithic technology, a testament to how human beings can leverage the natural world to achieve astonishing results. Its existence challenges our preconceived notions of primitive versus advanced weaponry. The Macuahuitl in its prime was a cutting-edge tool, optimized for its purpose with deadly precision. As we wrap up this incredible narrative, consider the enduring echo of the Macuahuitl. It lives on in academic texts, in museum exhibits, and in the collective imagination. It ensures that the legacy of the Aztec warriors and their unique genius will never truly be forgotten. This weapon, born of earth and fire, crafted by human hands, continues to whisper its tales across the centuries. Tales of power, of survival, and of the clash of civilizations that forever altered the course of history. If you found this deep dive into the Macuahuitl as captivating as we did, consider subscribing to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next journey into the legendary weapons of history. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What other ancient weapons fascinate you? Your engagement helps us bring more incredible stories to life. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Macuahuitl, a true legend among weapons. Until next time, keep exploring the hidden stories of our past.